Thank you, Greg. Morning, everyone. Give us a minute here to get ready. As Vice President Satharis just said, I am the Vice President of Students. I oversee all the student services here at BCC. And this morning what I have for you is a short presentation that I've done, that I've put together over the years, that highlight what we consider to be the top 10 things you need to know in order to be successful. You're here for an orientation. The whole idea is you want to be a success, you want to plan to be as successful as you possibly could be. And so we're going to give you some tools, some things to remember. I do this in somewhat lighthearted fashion. There's a little bit of humor thrown in. Well, I hope it's humorous. Laugh if it is. I do it quickly. I do it kind of like the David Letterman top 10 things. We go from number 10 to number 9. And although they are lighthearted, they are all serious. And I hope you'll take them that way. So we're going to start with number 10. The first thing you need to know, the number 10 thing you need to know is that failure is not an option. And I'm amazed that we have little Chelsea here running around. You see the little baby learning how to walk? And that was not planned, by the way. That prop came in at the last minute to my advantage here. Why do I have a baby up here learning how to walk? Because that's the attitude that I want you to develop this morning about failure is not an option. If you've ever watched a baby, if you watched Chelsea a little while ago, here she is, she's coming in, the star of our show. How many times did they fall before they got it right? Did they fall 10 times, 50 times, 100 times, 500 times? But every time they got knocked down, every time they fell, they got up again. And they worked at it again until one day they did it. Ah, I can do this. That's the attitude that I want you to have. Because if you have this attitude, I guarantee you it'll take you further than if you don't have this attitude. If you come into this thinking, this is hard, I don't know if I can do this, maybe I can, maybe I can't, well, maybe you'll get stuck along the way. But if you have the attitude that I'm not giving in, I'm not giving in, I'm going to work at this, I'm going to work at this until I get it right, it'll take you much further. And just remember, it's only a failure if you give up. As long as you keep trying, you can't ever be considered a failure. So failure is not an option. Number 10. Number 9 on the list. You've got to be there. You've heard the expression, half of all success is merely showing up. Well, it's true. You've got to be there if you want to be successful. I learned that the hard way in undergraduate school. The school that I went to for my undergraduate degree did not have an attendance policy. And I exercised my right to not attend class on a regular basis. Unfortunately, the instructors exercised their right to grade me accordingly. And after a year and a half, I got that knock on the door. Said, excuse me, Mr. Ozug, we don't think this is working. You may have to leave. And I thought, what do you mean this isn't working? I'm having a great time. Well, of course, because I wasn't going to class. But that was a wake-up call for me. And in my sophomore year, second semester, I made a decision to try to never miss a class again, to always be there. And I went from being on the verge of being kicked out of college to soaring in my next two and a half years. And I did make that goal, by the way, of never missing a class for 2.5 years. I attended every class full time. And my grade point average shot up, and by the time I left the college, I left with a very, very respectable grade point average. It's amazing what just being there and being attentive in both body and mind. Just showing up is half of the success, but the other half, of course, is putting all you have into it. So that's number 9 on the list. Number 8 on the list, take full responsibility. All along the way of you getting here today, you've had lots of help, you've had lots of resources, you've had people who have been there for you, and that's going to continue here. You've already heard about a number of the resources that we have here at the college. You'll hear about many more today. They're all here to help you, but ultimately, you have to take full responsibility. This is all on your shoulders. No one else is going to do this for you. We're here to help. Others on the outside might be there to help, but we can't do it for you. And if you don't take full responsibility, you run the risk, perhaps, like I did in undergraduate school, of this not working as well as it can work. When you cross that stage at graduation, you want to be able to hold your head high and be proud of the fact that you took full responsibility for your success. You partnered with us, you worked with us, you let us help you, but you took full responsibility. That's number 8 on my list. Number 7 on my list. Congratulations, you're hired. And some of you are wondering, what does he mean by that? This is like a job. You applied, just like you apply for a job. We accepted you. The only difference here is you're paying us instead of the job paying you. But overlook that for a moment. We want you to treat this like a job. Many of you have other jobs that are equally important, but that isn't to minimize the importance of this one. Many of you work, part-time or full-time. Probably, how many by show of hands work, part-time or full-time? The overwhelming majority of you work. That's important. Many of you have family responsibilities. That is probably the most important thing, as having little Chelsea here again could demonstrate. There's probably nothing more important than that, than your family responsibilities. But attending as a student has to be up there also as one of your priorities. And we want you to treat this like you would treat a job. Come onto campus every day. Walk into the classroom every day, prepared and able and willing and wanting to do your best and excel and exceed and impress the boss. In this case, you might be impressing your instructors. Or maybe the most important person to impress is yourself. Because if you treating this like a job will help you in the long run, because one day, this will be a job. You will be on the job, so this is kind of like on-the-job training. If you can start now, start thinking in that mindset, because that will be you someday in one of these fields. Okay, number 6 on my list. Maintain integrity at all times. You know, the academic environment is an amazing, wonderful, powerful environment. The partnership that you will forge with your academic folks and partners here on campus, the teachers, the academic support staff, the student support staff, collectively, that partnership can produce amazing, wonderful things. But it's predicated on something very important. It's predicated on the fact that at all times, everyone is conducting themselves with the utmost of integrity. And as the student, you need to ask yourself that question. What does that mean? It goes hand in hand with taking full responsibility. Also maintaining that integrity so that doing the work yourself, making sure that you are an equal partner. Your instructor is in front of that classroom. Your instructor is every day giving it 100, 110%. Integrity is also you giving the same in order to make that partnership work. And just a little note on plagiarism as we talk about integrity, because at the college level, I would be remiss if I didn't say at least a word about plagiarism. For those of you who may not know, plagiarism is merely the putting forward of work as your own that really is somebody else's work. Sometimes that's done knowingly, and that's just academic dishonesty. But more often than not, for many students in this day and age, they fall into the trap.
That's basically stealing.
There you go. That's basically stealing. And many students fall into that trap this day and age because of technology. You've got a report to write, and you go out there and you have millions of pieces of data available to you. And you grab this piece of data and that piece of data, and you take this excerpt, and you grab this report here, and you put it all together, and you read it, and you go, wow, this is great, this is fabulous. But unfortunately, you didn't cite anywhere where all that information came from, and you put it forward as yours, and that is plagiarism, or a form of academic dishonesty. So, in the bigger picture, just conduct yourself in that way where you are always, always maintaining 100% integrity. Number 5 on the list, be a smart shopper or be a savvy shopper. Do you know, this one baffles me all the time, but education is one of the only, if not the only, commodity or thing that I have ever heard of that people pay for that sometimes they hope they don't get. Think about that for a minute, because it baffles my mind. You wouldn't go to the grocery store and buy $100 worth of groceries, get to the checkout counter, put them on the counter, scan them, do whatever you do, pay for them, and then walk away without taking them. You wouldn't go to the gas station and give the attendant $25 to put gas in your car and then drive away without putting it in your tank. But sometimes with education, some people actually pay for it, and then they celebrate when they don't get it. And I know many of you have seen that happen before. Classes canceled? Yes! You whoop it up and you party because you don't have classes today. Wait a minute, you paid for that. That's not the attitude you want to have coming into this. You want to have the attitude that you're going to get what you paid for. You're paying good money for this education. We've got great people here who are going to deliver it to you. Make sure you get what you pay for. That's being a smart shopper. Number 4 on the list. Civility. Practice civility. It says practice, but there's really 2 parts to this. Practice and promote civility. It's not only practice civility. I don't have to tell any of you, but incivility in society is probably one of the biggest problems we face today. Everywhere you go, there are people who are misbehaving, acting inappropriately, being disruptive, being rude, being inappropriate, vulgar, whatever it is, it's everywhere. The college campus is no different. We're a microcosm of society. But I want you to know today that Bristol Community College has committed itself to being one of the most civil places you will ever step foot into. That is the pledge that we have taken. We want this to be a civil environment, but we're only half the equation. All of you are the other half of the equation. And I want each of you today to commit to that you will practice civility when you are here at Bristol Community College. Of course, I want you to practice it when you leave Ellsbury Street also, or whatever other campus you're attending. But we can't control the outside as much as we control here. We need you as partners. Can I get that from all of you with a yes? Will you be a partner with us in this endeavor?
Yes.
A little louder?
Yes.
Thank you. And practicing it, as I said, is only half of it. The other half is promoting it, though. And that means taking responsibility for others also, to the extent that you are comfortable and able to. So if you have friends who are not behaving in a manner that they should be, if you witness something that you say, wait a minute, no, that's just not right. I hope you'll do something about that, again, to your comfort level and to the extent that you can given the right circumstances. Practicing and promoting civility. Thank you very much. Number 3 on the list. Reach for the sun. So how come I'm showing you a picture of a mushroom? Anyone in the audience, can you tell me what mushroom management theory says? Anyone? Mushroom management theory. 2 principles behind it. If you were a business major, you'd learn that as a management theory. Mushroom management is very simple. Mushrooms thrive under 2 conditions. You keep them in the dark and you cover them with manure. You don't want to be a mushroom, do you? No. I would hope not. You want to be more, you want to strive for the sun. You want to be like the giant sequoia tree or the sunflower. I know, guys, I know some of you guys in the audience saying, please don't ask me to be a sunflower. I haven't been a sunflower since that 3rd grade play, and I'm never doing it again. That's not my point. My point is you want to constantly strive to be bigger and better and stronger. And you're going to hear a lot about that today also. You're going to hear the president talk about that in a little while. He's late, by the way. Has he shown up in the meantime? Not yet. He's going to talk about that a bit, about push yourself to new heights. That's why you're here at college. Do things that maybe you always wanted to do, but you were a little nervous about. Get involved. Get involved in a club or an activity. Go out there and do some service learning. Give back to the community. Or in the academic setting, consider this. If you've got a free elective in your program, and you can take any course you want to fulfill that, don't take that course that's going to give you the easy A. That's too easy. Take that course that you're interested in, that you always wanted to learn more about, but you were a little nervous. It might be a little difficult. It might be hard. That's pushing the boundaries. That's going to places you haven't been before. That's challenging yourself and reaching for the sun. That's what we want you to do. Number 2 on the list, learn to navigate. Many of you have a GPS in your car, right? You use it on a regular basis?
I have one on my phone.
GPS on your phone, okay. Many of you have that too. And that little voice tells you what to do and where to go, right? And then it calls you an idiot when you don't do it right. You're not going to have that little voice here. You need to learn to navigate. You're going to have all those resources. We already spoke about that. And they're going to be here to help you. But you need to learn to navigate. And the best way that you can learn to navigate is by making yourself aware of all the resources. That's what all the tables are back here for, that you're going to hear about in a little while. Every one of those resources is a way to help you navigate this journey. And this is a journey. And it will take you to amazing places. But you have to learn how to, you're at the helm. You're driving, you're steering. Learn to navigate. And the number 1 thing you need to know in order to be successful here at Bristol Community College, beware of the old dude. Any similarity between this picture and anyone you know is purely coincidental. Any professor you may have had before. There's a little story behind beware of the old dude that I'll share with you now. True story. Everything I've told you this morning is true. I don't make anything up. A few years ago, I'm in my office in this building, on the 2nd floor of this building. My office is right above the main entrance to the building. It was a beautiful spring day. My windows were open. I could hear people outside, and there were a number of gentlemen playing Frisbee out in front of the building. I had to leave the building in a few minutes. I did, to go to a meeting. When I got outside the building, I said to one of the guys, hey, throw me that. And they threw me the Frisbee. And we started playing a little bit, back and forth. Now, remember earlier when I talked about I wasn't always the best at attendance in undergraduate school? Remember that? What was I doing? Playing Frisbee. I played Frisbee a lot in undergrad. Partying probably was a good answer, too. I played Frisbee a lot. So I learned a little something about Frisbee, and I became pretty good. Now, that was many years ago. I haven't completely lost it. I still know what I'm doing a little bit about Frisbee, and I'm sure on that particular day, these gentlemen were very impressed with my skills. So we played a couple of minutes. I went to my meeting. A little while later, I come back. They're gone. Go up to my office. I'm sitting there doing work, and I hear them come back again. Only this time, new people joined the group. And I hear one guy say to somebody new in the group, "Hey, you should have been here earlier. Some guy came out of the building here, and he said, 'Hey, throw me that.' And we did, and we started playing, and he was pretty good. He knew what he was doing." So the other gentleman says, "Well, who was it?" And the guy says, "I don't know. Some random administrator in a suit. Some old dude. An old dude." So I'm in my office. I hear this. You don't think I'm going to sit in my office now, do you? So I go back outside. I'm standing on the front steps, and I'm looking at them, and I said, "Hey, that's me you're talking about." And the guy turns around, and he points, he goes, "Hey, that's the old dude." Twice in 2 minutes, he called me an old dude. What's the moral here? What's the lesson here? The lesson is beware of us old dudes and dudettes and everybody else who works here. We just might know what we're talking about. Don't be afraid of us, though. Beware, but don't be afraid. Because what we're talking about and what we're doing is your success, and we can help you. So we want you to be a little beware of us, but certainly don't be afraid, and come and join us in this partnership, because we can help you succeed. And one little postscript to this story about the old dude. In my mind, this is what I look like playing Frisbee. Hey, who's laughing? Sadly, though, I think in the minds of the others, this is what they saw. Little reality check for me, I guess. Anyway, the top 10 things you need to know to be successful here. I thank you for listening. I hope you take this serious. We're going to leave it up on the screen here for a little while. Thank you very much. Good luck. We're all here for you.